And case study 2, this is based on, this is a product is used in China already and also in 26 other countries across the world. It's called Dansen D1 or Dentonic. It's a mixture of 2 herbs, salvia and also not ginseng, plus a pure compound, Borneo. And it was developed as a novel formulation by a group, a military hospital in Tianjin in China in the early 1990s. So they actually have amassed a lot of clinical data, and then by 1993 it was approved by the SFDA as a class 4 drug. And then they actually went on to the United States the FDA, and then get a IND for this product. This is an investigative new drug. But they have to wait for many, many years to accumulate a lot of capital to do a proper clinical trial in the United States, because each clinical trial involves, for each patient, that costs a lot of money, and I think tens of thousands of pounds. So I think that whole study might actually have to cost them multiple millions or maybe more than that. So they waited for about 8-9 years when this drug is being sold in China, and then they use the money they have gained to reinvest back into clinical research. So I think you can see here, this is the different stages of these clinical studies, and this is evidence-based. You can see here by 1996, it actually entered the first foreign market in Vietnam, and now it's actually entered 26 countries. And now, after the first IND was 1997, several study will be performed in China, and so on and so forth. And 3 years ago, it was classified as a class 3 drug, now by China. And now, actually, by the end of July this year, it actually has completed phase 2 clinical trial, monitored by the FDA, and now I understand it's going on to phase 3 clinical trials. So you can see actually it's gone a long way in the early 90s all the way to 2010 now, and hopefully by 2012 or so this might become the first herbal medicine, Chinese medicine derived drugs. And this is another example. This is how education can help. This is actually a herb developed by another company or sponsored by Yale University in New Haven, United States, published last month in Science. It's the premier journal that most of us in academia want to publish in. It's Science Translation Medicine. It actually traces how formula which was in use some 12,000, 18,000 years ago had been preserved to this day, and actually mixture, this is called Huang Qin Tang. And actually these are the 4 herbs which is in use in these. Under the leadership of Professor Tommy Chen at Yale University, they actually work out that it can protect patients who are undergoing chemotherapy against any GI tract toxicity. You can see here the chemotherapy induced GI toxicity, and so they show very, very clearly. If you're keen to give me your email address, I'll send you this paper, which is actually in press. And what they show is it actually can protect patients because you can see that the intestinal progenitor or stem cells can be stimulated by this formula, because that is the problem with chemotherapy, because our GI tract contains a lot of stem cells, or these cells they're dividing, so they are the target apart from the cancer cells, of course. So these are the cells like the hair follicles, they are the first one to go. So patients undergoing chemotherapy lose their hair and lose their appetite, and actually due to GI toxicity. And what they have shown very clearly is this formula were able to protect them against this toxicity. And so they actually work out of the mechanisms. They actually find out the inflammatory cytokines. These are chemicals which cause inflammation. These are family of these chemicals, and their expression and release can be inhibited by 5906. Right, and then these are some of the enzymes which is being blocked or upregulated by this formula. So actually, so I think that's quite an interesting case study. I think I'd like to present to you. So because we have heard much about regulation, and this is about science and about education, and at Cambridge we're actually more interested in another topic which is probably of importance too, and that is feminine health. and that is endometriosis. We know that a conservative estimate that in about 1 in 10 women of reproductive age will be affected by endometriosis. And that is a very, very painful condition. And that is due to the endometrium, instead of being stopped off here, it actually come up here and sometimes actually end up in the abdomen or peritoneal cavity and actually become atopic. And they will bleed and also cause a lot of pain. And then we know, by pathology, we know it actually is because of excessive new blood vessel formation here or in the abdomen. And that is collectively known as angiogenesis. So we know that it's not only a hormonal condition, but also an angiogenic, you have excessive angiogenesis. Using animal model, we have shown already that by blocking angiogenesis, we can actually improve endometriosis. So the next project we're actually going to undertake is to use this formula, a classic formula called 四物汤, or actually a soup made from 4 herbs, and they are identified here. And in particular, I'm going to start and I just show you a little bit of data on Angelica sinensis, which was mentioned earlier today. Of course, this is actually the Jinchen, this is the emperor, this is the minister, this is general, and this is the guide, if you like. And these are how do they work in that way? We are beginning to unravel their mechanism. And typically at the laboratory, what we can do is actually we first of all identify, and this species must be, genus must be vouchered, as Monique mentioned, and once we got that voucher, we actually can actually begin to get the active ingredient by different extraction technology. And what we have done here is to look at the volatile oil of Angelica. Much work has been done on the aqueous extract, which has been shown to improve angiogenesis. But we actually wonder why Angelica is usually not used by pregnant ladies. We suspect maybe Angelica in those cases might actually cause miscarriage. So in other words, maybe it's actually causing the deformation, and it might actually cause the fetus to abort itself, and because of improper development. So actually we suspected in the oil we might find something which inhibit angiogenesis, and through a variety of tests we actually show, and this is a zebrafish, we show very convincingly something called compound K can work at 0.01 microgram per mil, which is very, very potent. So this is what we are doing in Cambridge, and so this is to re-educate our colleague in obstetric gynecology that endometriosis at the moment there is no treatment apart from surgery. There may be a treatment being developed in the next few years' time. And this is a picture again, we lost one of here, and this is the last year Cambridge celebrated its 800th anniversary, and this July we actually have raised £1 billion from alumni and friends, not for Chinese medicine only, but actually for a variety of research. So I think the important thing to bear in mind is Cambridge as an educator, we actually are focusing on our new generation of students, whether they're medical students or scientists or artists, and that we are going to educate them properly. And there's a Vision 2020 which is attached to our teaching hospital, and now TCM is one of the funding priorities. And last year I was allowed by university to hold a half-day forum, and that is a first of many, I hope. And so we're now working very actively to actually have a research and development platform for angiogenic and neurodegenerative diseases in collaboration with Chinese, UK and EU partners, including the Q, the School of Pharmacy, and of course companies like GRS and also Salupont. Thank you very much.